there was a few bottles of it in the house, and my gut tells me I have no inside information on this at all, but my gut tells me the way things are lining up right now, I'm feeling this is probably going to be something like an accidental overdose. And they just made a horrible decision after the fact because they didn't want the relationship to be, to get out there because it would hurt, definitely hurt his, career, if not him be criminally charged. And I think they just made a really, really bad decision. I think that the medical examiner would have been able to tell pretty quickly if it was strangulation or anything like that, because you would still see the bone, the hybrid bone broken, or you see blood vessels broken in the eyes, stuff like that. Or if it was a gunshot, that's pretty obvious. So since they couldn't determine that, I think it's coming down to toxicology. So
David Celeste Rivas Hernandez story, and it centers on a Build-A-Bear certificate, a roller coaster, and an apparent trip to Six Flags. Private investigator Steve Fisher, who we've had on the show before, who is actually investigating this case, says that this could be a key moment in understanding what may have happened to Celeste. This detail could completely reframe the timeline and show that Celeste maybe wasn't just missing, but maybe was with somebody. We're going to dig into this.
So in that beginning that you already heard, you already seeing that they're saying, hey, it's more than likely going to be OD. But also, they go through a timeline where, I ain't going to lie, that family, y'all probably going to hawk the family down in a moment, because what gets revealed is some shit that we can't even just go ahead and gloss over. Let's go ahead and go.
Scream at Six Flags. And Six Flags has a Build-A-Bear, a shop there, and they have at different theme parks. They have at Knott's and whatnot, and I know some people are confused about that, but he was at Six Flags that day, and at the house, which is, I think, the important part that some people are losing sight of, is that we found the certificate at David's house, and it's in the name Esmeralda, and it's dated the same day, the 21st, that he was at Six Flags, and and then just a few days later, Celeste is photographed at Esmeralda's high school graduation. And this is all during the time that Celeste is reported as a missing person.
So does that give you a time of when she may have been alive?
Well, yeah. So, this is going back, a year, but this is right after she went missing. So we've all been under the impression that she's been gone, over a year. But there's these times that we're now finding out, well, was she missing, or was she a missing person? So the family or whoever would get in trouble for her not being in school, or there would be a CPS report, investigation opened right away. It appears that they knew where she was at, and she showed up at graduation. She's shown up now at the Six Flags along with a cousin, and then she shows up in September arguing with neighbors at her own home. So yeah. And the family has the responsibility to report that to law enforcement. If you have an open missing persons case on a minor, if you have any contact with them, you gotta report that.
And was this information that has just recently been discovered by you? Is this something that you believe the family or law enforcement knew beforehand?
I don't know if, so we discovered it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess, not long after the search warrant took place. But I don't know if they really had reason. I don't know what the scope of that search warrant even was. So I don't know if it's something that they would have been looking for, or they've been after. They know that we know about it. I don't know if it's of any value to their investigation. I don't know if they're even investigating, or if they even care if people knew that Celeste really wasn't a missing person. I just think it's important for the overall story, to be told that, there were people that knew, and possibly people that could have intervened in this situation.
And to be clear, has this detail, given you a better understanding of what the possible relationship is or was between David and Celeste? Does it give you a time frame of maybe when they had last spoke or last had contact, if that's at all what's going on?
Well, last spoke or contact, it doesn't really help with that. So far, the last that I have proof of is January 2nd. Now, that's what I have proof of. I don't know what LAPD has. I don't know what some of her friends might have text messages from her, but what I have is January 2nd. But I think what it does show is that there was a relationship. They were doing things, social things, and she was out of school. She was on, she had dropped out. She was, I think, 7th grade. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is really serious stuff. And I think it's sad that it was allowed to continue. And that's, I don't know why it was allowed to continue, but it was. And I think people knew where she was at. And it also makes me think that as soon as the news came out that a body had been found in David's Tesla, I think that family probably knew exactly who it was right away.
Now, last time we spoke, you had mentioned that there were these items at this Hollywood Hills property that weren't seized in the search.
So they already have the Build-A-Bear workshop. He was calling her Esmeralda, which I guess you would want to do. But he was thought out, and I think that's what's going to get revealed because it's already shown he was running around with her when she was 13. So all those rumors that he was messing with her when she was 12, I fully believe it. So there's that. We still don't know, and I keep saying this shit, I'm going to keep on saying this about the fake IDs. If she told him something or something like that, but based on them pictures, bruh, nah, hell nah. We've all grew up and went through, like, let's say, high school, ninth grade. You might have seen a girl that you know what I'm saying, was around, and she had that overnight body, started looking like a grown-ass woman. There's those, but Celeste ain't never had none of that, bro. If y'all look at them pictures, those are damn near more current than the ones that y'all seen. So you get to see that, but he running around Six Flags and hopping and skipping and Build-A-Bear and all that. You knew she had to have a permission slip to go to Six Flags is insane. Now, I grew up where Six Flags right down the street. We ain't get flagged for none of that. Like, bro, if you was coming up there, they wasn't doing none of that stuff. So there's that. But the family knew. And it's one thing about that culture, that hood culture, bro, where sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, it don't even matter. I grew up at a time where some of these ladies, some of these men, man, they didn't care. I remember being in high school, and I keep telling y'all this. I always tell this story. Crushing on this girl, bro. I mean, crushing hard. Like, bro, she would have asked me to punch somebody over her. I would have crashed out for her. Fine as hell. Ninth grade. Her boyfriend had a Honda, bro. Was grown. Little dude like 19, messing with a ninth grader. I'm not going to say the ethnic background because there's a couple of ethnicities that was allowing this stuff to go on. But, bro, when I tell y'all, hurt my heart. Julie, I miss you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully she doing good. I should go Google that real quick. But either way it go, bro, I just started noticing certain things, and it is what it is. But this next slide, this drops the ball. Roll it.
Close entourage, a person that was actually on tour with him that had actually, there was another car that was reported being left right by the house for like 2 months. And then they had actually called to have that one towed as well. And then the day before it was going to be towed, when they came out for the third time, 2 men came and picked up the car. And we've since found out that is somebody that was owned by somebody that was out on tour with David, and they just left it in front of that, across the street, on the same street, just parked on the other side of the road, kind of blocking someone's driveway for 2 months.
To be clear, the two people that moved that other car, was one of them the person that moved the Tesla?
No, so these are, I only know who one of them, only ID'd one of them. These are not people that are regular, and they were the owner of the cars. I think a family member and a friend or something like that. Not people that were around, and not David's people or anything like that.
Now, you've also been tracking the medical examiner timeline, the LAPD's timelines actively, very closely. Have there been any developments there that you can give a better sense of when we might maybe even see an official determination about the cause of death, the manner of death, anything like that?
I think it could be in the next week to 10 days. And that's because, what I've been doing is tracking, her, she was discovered on the 8th, on September 8th. So I've been tracking the deaths for the months and weeks before that date, and the ones that were in deferred status. Those are usually the ones that are pending toxicology. And then I'm seeing that they're showing up as they're not deferred anymore, and they're showing, acute fentanyl intoxication or whatever. So it shows
in other cases, yes.
So they've in other cases. So it shows that the toxicology has come back on those, and they're making determinations. And I've seen those as recent as September 3rd right now. So we could be, just days away from. Now that doesn't mean the autopsy report is done in total, but it does mean that on the website we could see a determination of cause and manner of death, which will then should free up LAPD to do what they're going to do.
Do you have any idea of what that could be based on what you're seeing? I mean, again, going back to our previous conversation, you had mentioned that there seem to be plans in that house of potentially discarding Celeste's body. Is there anything that you could tell us, anything you can glean, obviously without compromising the investigation, about what happened to her?
I can tell you that we did find opiate prescription medication bottles in the house. Now, they could, whoever those were, they could be taking them 100% legitimately. So just because you have pain medication, but there was a few bottles of it in the house, and my gut tells me, I have no inside information on this at all, but my gut tells me the way things are lining up right now, I'm feeling this is probably going to be something like an accidental overdose. And they just made a horrible decision after the fact because they didn't want the relationship to be, to get out there, because it would definitely hurt his, career, if not him be criminally charged.
So cars being dropped off on that street and just chilling there for a while is normal behavior. Normal behavior. So when you're hearing certain people say certain things like, oh, yo, the car was sitting there, nobody said nothing. This was normal. So if it's already normal, we not going to go out of all of this stuff. Russ said, man, the car was sitting there for 2 months, damn near blocking somebody in. And nobody did a thing until he finally got on tour and moved his car. I hate to say it this way, y'all, but David is more than likely going to get away with it. In 2 weeks, before Thanksgiving, it's going to be announced that more than likely him and probably 2 other individuals, I would say it's going to be David followed by 2 more people, or David and somebody else. I don't think David is going to jail by himself. I think they're going to announce arrest for everybody else, and they're going to try to, bam, punch him right there in the interrogation room with hardcore facts. They're going to punch him with facts. They're going to punch him with conspiracies. They're going to punch him with all type of stuff from Reddit. They're going to punch him with fake evidence, with real evidence. They're going to punch on these cats with so much stuff that they're going to be, I can't. Because how do we know that David ain't paid for everybody else's lawyer? See, there's this thing that is called the inevitable, right? And the inevitable says it's going to happen no matter what you do. So David, with his attorney, with everybody else, yeah. That's why Buddy on there crying like, he can't get away with it. Y'all know what happened in there. Y'all got to tell the truth. To that detective, I want to ask you this question. Do you really care? Do you really care? Honestly, do you really, really care about what happened with Celeste Rivas Hernandez? Because if you did, can you now use the platforms that you have access to now to bring up other cases that you will have all type of sorts of power and access to? Just curious. Will you be using your notoriety and your sudden celebrity to talk about other cases that you have? If you truly care about Celeste Rivas Hernandez, because you in California, bruh, the most populated state in all of America. So, you gonna care about the other kids? I don't care about the ethnicity. I don't care about the age, but will you care about the other kids? Or is it just this one? I always will question how some people go hard for one individual, but not others. So I'm curious, do you now make this a thing? If he builds a platform from now on where he talks about cases of missing children and cases of deaths of children that happen to be in crazy circumstances where it seems like police are taking their sweet ass time and he has access to do it, if this is now his new calling, all for it, protect the children. Release some Epstein files, Trump. Or it's just some type of notoriety, so now your billables start to go up and you can start getting new clients. I'm just curious, is it where the money goes or where morals go? Y'all, let me know your thoughts on this one. Share to keep your people aware, subscribe to the Best and Notified. Click right here to see how Lil Durk might be coming home, because the judge said something I ain't even think the judge would say. She said, write this many pages and say this. Click right here to find out right now, or click right here for the playlist, because y'all like how we do it over here better. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Reloaded.